Hey guys, hope everyone has been well. This is Mike Hill, hitting you back with another solo episode. It's been a real busy last few months, and I just want to give you guys an update as to what's been going on. Depending on when you listen to this, my new show that is part of the Gimme Radio platform either is about to be released or has been released already. So it's called Metal Matters. You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on Stitcher. You know, all those channels. There's going to be like a YouTube, thing going on. And, it's like my new show. It's part of the Gimme thing. For those of you who also may not realize, I'm a DJ on that platform. And if you don't know what that is, go over and check it out at gimmeradio.com. It's a streaming music service that's dedicated to extreme music, metal, punk, hardcore. I have a show on there called Sacred and Profane, and it airs twice a month on Fridays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm just playing a bunch of jams on there of stuff I dig. Pretty open format. You'll hear everything that you would imagine that I might be into. You hear death metal, you hear black metal, hardcore stuff like Black Flag, Cro-Mags, death rock, Fields of the Nephilim. I played them quite a bit on there. Some industrial music, Swans, Death in June, Morbid Angel, Carcass. Some more obscure stuff like Vastum, The Chasm, like all these bands. And it's cool. It's a good way to sort of share music that I'm into. And there's also some, voice tracks on there too, where I talk about certain things related to the music. And, occasionally I'll premiere some new stuff. For example, in a future episode, there's, a new track by Evokin. There's a new track by Daughters, and stuff like that. So it's worth checking out, and you can stream it on your mobile device, on your computer. And there's also a bunch of other cool guys on there. There's like, Dave Mustaine, Randy from Lamb of God has a show. Albert Mudrian of Decibel used to have a show. A bunch of different people. Diane from WFMU, she has a show, and anyone in New York has definitely seen Diane at shows. She's been around the scene for a while, and she's has a great radio show on WFMU. She's deep, intense knowledge of punk and hardcore and metal, and definitely someone who's aware of stuff that's on the cutting edge as well. So her show is great, and check that one out too. And it's all streaming live. I think they're rolling out some service where you can subscribe and have access to all the archives, but you don't have to pay anything if you just want to check it out live. It's like this, literally, it's like listening to the radio that's being curated by people who have pretty good taste in music. Randy Blythe actually is a guy that, like, man, his show is insane. It's like you'll hear all kinds of stuff, metal, hardcore, noise rock, like, bands like Big Black and Shellac, the Steve Albini bands, Unsane, things like that. He plays a lot of different types of stuff, and it's just really cool. I mean, the format is loosely heavy metal and all its related genres, so it's definitely something cool. I listen to it myself. I listen to other people's shows. I'll have it on in the background when I'm doing work, and it's something that you can, for you office workers there. In addition to listening to this podcast, you can check out this streaming service if you want to listen to music. So just keep it going, headphones, while you're doing your job during the day, or if you're commuting and you have like a really good data plan, you can have this stuff going in your car. So it's definitely worth checking out. So now the new show, Metal Matters, the first episode drops on the November 13th, which is a Tuesday, which, as I'm recording this on Monday, it's tomorrow. So it brings up a couple of different issues that I just want to talk to you guys about regarding Everything Went Black. And basically, Metal Matters is the music portion of this podcast. So, for example, I know the episodes where Randy and I got together and talked about different topics, the topic shows. I know you guys really dug those because I saw the numbers and people seem to really respond to that. And there's going to be a bunch of shows on Metal Matters that are basically that show. For example, the first episode is about Iron Maiden Killers. It's like a classic records appreciation that Randy and I both do together, and he's part of the team. So if you enjoyed the topic shows on Everything Went Black, I think Metal Matters will be great. And then in addition to that, there's interviews. You know, for example, I've already programmed the first 2 months. Everything's done for the first 8 episodes. Oh yeah, and by the way, it's going to come out weekly. So if you can't get enough of me through Everything Went Black, you'll be able to hear me every week on Metal Matters. So, it's either one of these like discussion shows between me and Randy and maybe some other people in the future, or it's interviews. So some of the interviews we have that are done and ready to be, downloaded to you guys is Aaron Turner of Sumac and the Great ISIS. That's the first interview. That's, episode number 2. We have Dan Lilker, who I really probably don't need to tell you guys much about Dan, but, he's been around. He's helped sculpt extreme music, in my opinion. He was a founding member of Anthrax. Then he was a founding member of Nuclear Assault. Then he's a founding member of Brutal Truth. And those are just the bands that people know about. I mean, there's other more obscure stuff. Like, I have to check the chronology of this, but Dan may actually be a founding member of the first U.S. black metal band, Hemlock. I know Vaughn gets that nod, but I got to look at the chronology. But I think Hemlock was around at that same time that Vaughn put their record out. So, Dan is a stalwart in the heavy metal extreme music world. We got DeWitt Hellion from Integrity, Steve Brodsky from Cave In, and, Mutoid Man and a bunch of other bands. There's a Pig Destroyer interview, and then a bunch of other stuff, classic record discussions about Neurosis Through Silver and Blood, Godflesh Street Cleaner. We have an episode that was devoted to discussing the origins of crossover thrash, and it's just a lot of fun, and I invite everyone to go check it out. And I think that if I were to do these types of shows on Everything Went Black, I would basically be competing against myself. So the face of Everything Went Black, I think, is going to have to change as a result of the emergence of Metal Matters. So I'm going to be doing this podcast a couple times a month, in addition to Necromaniacs, who, you guys out there that love horror movies, check that out. Mike Scandato and I do that. And it comes out, I would like it to come out more frequently, but basically every 6 weeks we drop an episode. Roughly monthly, the thing comes out. But so between Necro, Everything Went Black, I'm hoping to get maybe 2 or 3 episodes of that stuff out a month, and then every week you'll be able to hear me on Metal Matters. So might be overkill, but hey, a lot of stuff coming out. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys join me over at Metal Matters, because it is a separate gig from this, and it's not in any way, shape, or form related to this, this Everything Went Black stream that I got going on. So, these days, trying to get numbers, all that sort of stuff, it would really help me out a lot if you guys checked out the Metal Matters stuff. So I've been busy doing that these last few months, doing the episodes, setting up the interviews, doing all the production, doing the editing, working on the back end stuff such as distribution, all the technical stuff. So it's taken up a huge chunk of my time. So, that's where I've been for the last several months, trying to actualize this thing. And, several years ago when I first started podcasting, I did it, because I was interested in this medium, and I really, in general, in my life, I see myself as not being very approachable in person. So this is a great way for me to express myself and communicate with people out there. Because, in person, I'm not a very, forthcoming person with my feelings, I guess. So this is a really great way for me to get my ideas out there, in a safe space, I guess, for lack of a better term. I never thought that any of this stuff would really amount to anything. I just thought it would just be this pursuit. And so for me to be able to be hired by Gimme Radio to produce a show for them every week, basically talking about things I love, is quite an accomplishment. And yeah, I mean, I really couldn't have done it without you guys. I mean, you guys are out there supporting this, listening to the show, giving me feedback, and I really am grateful for that. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. But yeah, that's enough of that. The final dates of 2018 in the Tombs tour efforts have been successfully completed this past week. And we did a set of shows over the last weekend, couple weeks actually, not this past weekend, but the week ago. We played Atlanta, Asheville, and Raleigh, North Carolina. The Atlanta show is interesting because it was, I don't know, how is it related to this actually? Is it a sponsored or somehow it was related to the Atlanta chapter of the Satanic Temple? And that was news to me when we were offered to play this show. It was part of Mass Destruction Fest. This is year 2 of Mass Destruction Fest in Atlanta, which was a great, great festival. And it's going to continue. And the promoter was telling me that he's got a really sick lineup for next year. And, so I just urge you guys to check it out if you're in the Atlanta area, if you're in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. Take advantage of this great festival. If you like death, black, doom, all that stuff, it's all part of that fest. So anyway, we were offered this show, and I was like, yeah, sounds good. Gives us an excuse to do some more dates around that show. And then I found out that it was part of some sort of satanic temple ritual, which I thought was quite interesting. Most of you know that I have a fascination with the occult and esoteric stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of cool. It was a bit confusing as to what their actual ideologies were. So if anyone out there is listening and is affiliated with the Temple of Satan, please, I'd be interested in learning about what the ideologies actually are, because, there's a Baphomet symbol, that was a prevalent symbol in this thing, but Baphomet actually is not necessarily a satanic symbol. The origins of Baphomet actually are part of the Talmudic religion. And, it sort of symbolizes the universal balance, hence Baphomet having breasts. It's sort of the merging the balance of male and female and the light and the dark in the universe. So there's a gigantic neon Baphomet that was part of this ritual, and I thought that was like a little confusing to me. But I know that the chapter in Atlanta, I know that there's, in general, the Temple of Satan is based out of Detroit, Michigan, because several years ago we found ourselves in a similar situation, playing an event that was somehow connected to their organization. And it was the same kind of thing. Not really sure what their deal is, because it didn't seem very satanic to me. Then, for the record, I myself, I don't subscribe to any satanic ideologies either. I'm a student of all this stuff, and I'm very interested in the occult. So if I were to say my beliefs are more in the agnostic, thelemic sort of, ideologies, Aleister Crowley and sort of do what thou wilt is the whole of the law sort of ideology is my thing. Do what you're going to do, but there's consequences. Keep that in mind at all times. So, it was a little fast. It was fascinating. There was a ritual, once again, mixing different types of deities from different pantheons. There's references to Pazuzu. There's references to a phoenix. And then there's also the gigantic Baphomet, which is part of this, ritualistic accoutrements, for lack of a better term. Anyway, it was fun. We got a chance to play with this great band called All Hell, which is based out of Asheville. And I was familiar with them, and we got a chance to play with them. We played in Asheville with them, and also in this Atlanta date, we played together. And really, really great guys, an excellent band. If you are into that grimy, like black metal style of, say, older Celtic Frost, Bathory, Venom, old Dark Throne. Well, not too old, because that Soulside Journey is a death metal album, but the post Soulside Journey, pre-power metal version of Dark Throne, i.e. Transylvanian Hunger, in the Night Side. That's Emperor. Transylvanian Hunger, Plague Wielder, that sort of stuff. I would be into. You would definitely enjoy All Hell. Trio, young dudes, spikes, leather, fog machine. They got the whole nine, and they were a great band. They were great songs. Actually, there was definitely in describing their music, I would say that there is like almost like a Sam Hain, like Misfits vibe to some of their music too. But be that as it may, check them out. They're on Apple Music if you guys subscribe to that. And if they're playing in your area, definitely go see them. And I'm hoping to do some more dates with that band at some point in the future, because I really enjoy their music. So that's it for us this year. We're already in November, and we got December. And that's it for 2018. Another year shot to hell. And so for the rest of the year, going to be working on new material with Tombs. Hopefully we'll be making it into the studio in 2019, and we're still trying to figure that plan out on what we're actually going to do and when we're going to do it. But we have quite a bit of new material, so anyone who's going to be seeing the band in 2019 will be showcasing some new stuff, which we've been working on, and I'm real excited about that. Going to be working on a demo at the studio out in Clifton, New Jersey. Probably in December, we'll be having some material recorded, at least in a demo fashion. And there's going to be some additional players besides the guys that are in the band. Terrence Hannum from Low Green is going to be doing some synths. And Ben Karras, the violin player, the strings player for Windfarer, is going to be working with us too in a couple songs. So I'm looking to really blow this whole thing up and make it big, add more dimensions to the band, and make things more, just more of everything. Faster songs, more atmosphere, more textures, more of a variety of types of singing and vocal stylings, more depth in the lyrics, more storylines, more explorations of the darkness within. And that's pretty much been my game plan from day one with this band, is just to continue to do more. And hopefully next year we'll be able to push that into another level of doing more tour dates, more shows, more travel to Europe, all that stuff. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. And once again, if you guys are listening on iTunes, be sure to drop us a couple star ratings on there. If you want to support the show, we have a Patreon. We got a couple guys already on that, which by your pledge of whatever amount of money you want, be it as little as $1, you'll be entitled to downloading premium content that is only for Patreon members. And you can go to the Patreon site, which is linked to everythingwentblackmedia.com, and you'll see some of the stuff that's already made available to everyone else. Also, social media, give us a like on Facebook. You can follow and like stuff on Instagram. Everything Went Black Mike Hill is my Instagram. I know it's not a very catchy tag on Instagram, but hey. And that has a variety of different stuff. It's got tuned stuff on there. It's got movie things. It's got things about life. It's got cats. It's got martial arts. It's got all this stuff on there. Driving across the countryside. Little videos about that. So yeah, definitely hit me up on there. I follow back. So if you're looking for more followers, if you follow me, I'll follow you. And that's how it goes. So anyway, also more importantly, I just want to find out what you guys would like me to do now that the music stuff is going to be showing up on Metal Matters. I mean, I got a bunch of different ideas, and I'll be rolling those out over the next couple of months. But if there's anything specific that you think would be good for this show, I'm interested in hearing that. And you can hit me either, probably the best way to do it is just email directly at mike.hill@everythingwentblackmedia.com. These days, I've been spending less and less time on Facebook. And if you hit me on Facebook, I might not get that message for weeks, days, maybe a month, because I just kind of sick of Facebook. I got to be honest with you guys. If not email, send me a message on Instagram. I'm on Instagram probably more than any other social media platform. So if you hit me up on there, and I'd be definitely stoked to hear what you guys' thoughts are about all this stuff. And if you got any recommendations of subjects or people that you'd like me to try to get on the show, I'm always up for that kind of thing. So anyway, everyone have a good week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
You've got so many machines, Richard. I haven't got that. Fast bits. Would you like anything?
Give us a snare rush.